Hey YouTube, it's Talk. It is Monday, February 18th, 2019. And did you know the Pope just signed a pact with the most powerful imam in Islam? Did you know that? Did you see that on the news that they did that the Islam and Catholics just got together? They're one religion now. And if you did see anything about it, the Pope and the Muzzy getting together and talking, right? It doesn't tell you everything. You got to read it. Read what took place. Catholics and the Muzzies are now together. That's one religion. All right? And guess what? The leader of the Catholic Church is not a Catholic. He is a Jesuit. Now, in our modern homogenized society, Jesuits are a kind of Catholic. But they're not. They're kind of Muslim. That they are. They are kind of Muslim. They're not really kind of Catholic. And they're definitely Judaism. Definitely. Definitely Jewish. All three are very close. They all stem from the same two brothers, right? Okay. Problem. One brother has two, and one brother has one. The two have already been together, and now the Catholics, the Christianity side, just got hijacked by the Jesuits, which are Jews. The Jesuits follow the Kabbalah more than they follow the Holy Bible. The tree of life. All right? Read the Kabbalion. Read the Kabbalah. Take the gems out of it and use it in your life. Don't let it be a manual for the way to live your life. Because one day we're all going to have to stand at them gates and we're all going to have to be judged. Ask yourself, am I going to make it? With what I'm planning to do today. Is God going to let me in? Is God going to let me in with what I have in mind for my day today? There's a lot at stake here, folks. These are not just words on a paper. All right? It's not. This is real. You know, I got brothers and sisters, and they're all younger than me. You know, I've been a shitty brother, man. I've been a shitty brother. I've been a shitty citizen. I've been a shitty American. But I'm not trying to be that anymore. I'm trying to do right. It's not my job to make sure my brothers and sisters live forever. It's my job to make sure they live as long until I die, though. That is my job. It's my job to make sure they outlive me. And I feel bad for the one who gets in between me and them when the curtain gets pulled back, because I'm coming. You know, I fell short so many times in my life. I made plans that were just unreasonable, unreachable. In the caste system we have, there was never a chance for me to make it where I wanted to live. The way I wanted to do it. I don't have the right amount of zeros in my bank account to live the life I wanted to live. To be who I think I was destined to be. I understood science more than anybody I know. Life science, physical science, chemistry, biology, anatomy, anthropology. I understood science like nobody. I didn't get good grades. Because I thought a lot of the answers were faulty. I didn't get great grades, but I didn't do the work. I did the work in here. I did the work up here. I didn't do it down there. I know the answers. Why do I need to prove to you I know the answers? You don't know the answers. You got to read it out of the book. I used to tell the teacher all the time. You don't even know the answers. You got to look it up. I know the answer at least. Ask me. Ask me any of the questions. I'll give you the answer. Why do I got to write it down? You're teaching it to me and you don't know it. But I'm the one that needs to write it down? I'm reciting half of the page. Just, I read the page once or twice and then I recite it back to you. All right? That's imprinted. That's on there. But I need to write the answers down because I don't know it. Yet every time we go to class, she's got to scroll through the book, find it, and then read it to us again. Because she doesn't know it. I know things. I know things I shouldn't know. I know things that I never learned. Not in my waking mind, I never learned them, but I know them now. I've known them for years. There's a lot of things that I know that I don't know why I know. And then later on, when I go to check it out or it pops up in my day-to-day life, and I have the answer, I go research it and find out that I am right. Why do I know it? I don't know. I know a lot of stuff that I don't think I ever learned anywhere. Not during the day. Not while I was awake, I didn't learn it. I seen a lot of things. I seen a lot of things in drug-induced states of mind. I seen things that'll blow your mind. I watched somebody else have a conversation with my hallucination. And my buddy Mike and I have had several conversations about it afterwards. Why the hell? But he would do this. As soon as I say, why are you saying my hallucination? That's not a hallucination then. If you could say it, it's not my hallucination. It's a group hallucination or it's real. Or that's real. And we're seeing it. And you're conversing with it. I was talking back and forth. Not with my mouth, with my mind. And it was coming back and forth. Taking a lot of hallucinogens. And the more hallucinations I had, the more I realized they ain't hallucinations. There's things there. We only see 1%, less than 1% of visible light our eyes can only detect. See, our eyes are just cameras. They're just lenses, all right? The lens on the camera don't do shit. It just magnifies the image and it gets put on there. Then it goes in. And then that's when the picture starts to take form. After it goes through the lens. Here's the lens. The image comes and hits the lens. And it gets crushed down, squeezed. And then the computer, microchip, or whatever is in there, starts doing the work. Our eyes are just lenses. The image comes, hits there, goes in there, and then the processor, right? Our Pentium 10 billion processor up there starts making a picture, starts taking the info and disseminating all the information, put it together so it can make a nice little mosaic. Because it doesn't make pictures, it doesn't. It makes like patchwork quilts up here. And we just draw on each patch that we want. We can take, like on a chessboard, you got 1, 1, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. You got 2, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, A, B, C. 1A, 2 is B, 3, C, 4, D, well, that's what it is. We take them off of our patchwork that we got up there. Because nothing's linear in your mind. Nothing is set up in time. It's just there. And you draw on it when you need it. You draw on it when you don't need it. You draw on it when you know. You draw on it when you don't know. It's constant. That is a constant. Awake, asleep, it doesn't matter. You are constantly drawing on our patchwork quilt. And I draw on it all the time. You know, we are amazing. We're processing the images as they're coming in. In here. Eyes don't take pictures. They observe the data, and then our brain puts it all together and makes an image in our head and just throws it into the air and it stays there. And then the next image is over here. If it's something we've never seen before, it comes up to the front. Until something new comes into your mind and it gets eclipsed, and this one starts falling back with the rest of the knowledge because it's old hat. Get me? I've been a shitty brother. I've been a shitty family member. You know, and I'm working hard right now. I'm working very hard to be a good person. I'm working very hard to help the people around me. I'm working very hard to get my life the way it should have been a long time ago. Something to make my grandmom proud. Because it's the only person in the world I never wanted to disappoint. But I did. Over and over again. The one person in the world that no matter what happens, I would never find fault in anything that woman ever did. And I just constantly slandered. I tarnished my family name. You know, it's one thing to be called snap out all the time. But it's another thing to not even be welcome around to be called snap out. And now there's really nothing I can do or say to my family to make them believe that I am not doing the things I used to do. Because I still have the same mind. I still think the same way. I still look at things through the same skeptical side that I always had, you know, but I'm a lot more rational than I've ever been. I'm a lot smarter than I've ever been because I've lived a little bit and I learned a few things. You know? You know, our job as humans, not as brothers and sisters and cousins and uncles and dads and moms and granddads and grandmoms and nieces and nephews and godkids. No, that's got our job as humans. Russian, Chinese, Greek, black, brown, tan, yellow. Our job as humans is to make sure the people younger than us are at our funeral. The people younger than you are supposed to mourn your passing. They're not supposed to go before you. They're not. And it should be a very utmost importance to everybody to make sure that their younger brothers or their siblings or their kids outlive them. Do you know that IQ has a direct connection with survival? And did you know that the Aboriginal people in Australia, the native Aboriginals, have a median IQ of 60? 60. 60. Does anybody know that 60 is well into the mental retardation stage. Anybody know that? Did you know that the average IQ, it's not racist. This is not racist. You're going to get pissed off when I say it, but it's not racist. The average IQ of a black man, an African American man, is 78. 3 points above retardation. That's not an inability to learn. It's not. It's a conditioning. It's an indoctrination. It's in making somebody strive to destroy their own culture. Make you run from your own heritage. That is what's taken place. And that's why the average IQ for a black man today is 78. I got some friends. My buddy Al from high school was one of the smartest people I ever met in my life. Class came so easy to him and it didn't come to me. You know, I had a hard time reading. I would read. I would sit down and slug through it and it would take me a long time and I'd have to read everything twice. But I did it. I read encyclopedias from A to Z. Al just seemed to get it. And he was a black kid. And he's one of my best friends to this day. To this day. We haven't spoken in years. Years. But I know that if something happened, I ran into Al on the street. You know what Al would say? Hey, you drunken Irish prick. You know what I'd say? Hey, my spirit chucker. Come here, buddy. Give me a hug. I love you. You know, everybody around us called us racists. He's black, I'm white. But we're racists. Because we're saying stuff like that. No, it offends you. You're white. What the fuck are you mad at me because I said spear chucker for? You're mad at me for saying spear chucker. You're white. Fuck are you mad at? Oh, you're uncomfortable. Do you know why you're uncomfortable when I say the word spear chucker? Because you're a racist. You are. It bothers you because that's what you're thinking. That's why you're uncomfortable. If you didn't feel that way or didn't think that way at all, you won't be complaining about me saying spear chucker or tar baby. You never would have heard it. It wouldn't bother you. Not a white person. Unless you think that way and you want everybody else around to stop looking at you and look at me. That's why you become appalled when somebody picks on somebody that isn't you. Because that's what you think of yourself. That's how you think. You know, you can tell me I'm wrong. That's all right. You know, me and Jung, we're wrong. Me and Nietzsche, we're wrong. But you got it all figured out. Yeah. You know. We have to figure out a way to bring our communities back together. Because we don't even know our neighbors' names. We don't know what they do. And our country and our Constitution was established that your neighbors are your militia. Your neighbors are your military. That's your defense. That's the military that we have, is your neighbors. Your guy to your left, the guy to your right, and the guy in front of you, and the guy behind you. All right? Cross. The cross. Or the X. Or the box. Or the plus sign. Whatever the freak you want to call it. That's your militia. If you don't know each other, you think somebody that don't know you is going to fight for you? Risk taking a bullet for you? Risk going to prison for you? Risk being found? They don't even know you? Yeah? Because I don't. Because I wouldn't. I might now, though. There's a lot of people that don't know what's coming. They don't understand that a national emergency suspends our Constitution. Donald Trump has definitely put Israel first. We're not the greatest country in the world anymore. And as long as we still think we are, it's going to continue to get worse. Because if we're the greatest, we don't have to work to make it better. If we were told the truth, that the Europeans that founded this country have been the most ruthless, evil, Luciferian, warmongering, hate-mongering, fear-mongering people ever. When we learn that, we can start putting the pieces back together for ourselves and come up with our own answers. Because the vast majority can't do this equation. If A equals B and B equals C, A equals C. You don't need the B. But that's how all the equations are written on that chalkboard from all those educated people, right? You know, all the PhD, right? Pile, higher, and deeper. Piled, higher, and deeper. Piled, higher, and deeper. Bullshit, PhD. All of their equations on the board could be wiped out. 90% of it. Because the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega is real. Everything in between is, what if it was like this? Or maybe it's, or it could be, or I wonder if that's what's in between Alpha and Omega. Alpha is yes, it is. Omega is yes, it is. In between is, And he say, I am the Alpha and the Omega, I am the beginning and the end? Isn't that what he says? I am the beginning and I am the end. And I believe that's a blanket statement for everything. He created it. And he's going to take it. I brought you into this world, I'll take you out. Like Bill Cosby used to say in his stand-up comedians back before he was raping girls, or right when he started raping girls. Scumbag. But that's it. He is the Alpha and he is the Omega. And we're in the middle, trying to figure this stuff out. But our ego and our indoctrination leaders have made us believe that we are the beginning, middle, and end. We are God. Hey, homie, I ain't God. I don't want to be God. I could never be God. Never. I don't even think God would take counsel from a man like me. But I know the difference between right and wrong. I know what family values are. I know how to read, and I know how to decipher things. I know how to recognize a pattern. I know how to use rulers. I know how to use a clock. I know how to use a tape measure. I know what a hygrometer is. I know what a barometer is, and I know how to read them, and I know what it means. I know what a densitometer is. I use them daily. All right? And I'm called stupid. I'm dumb. I'm dumb for believing the results of the tests I'm carrying out. But you're smart for watching television and a guy on TV with a white coat on told you that this is the truth. Now I go out and do an experiment and come up with a different result, and I say it. Now I'm dumb because the actor on television with the white suit, you know, I'm not a doctor, but I do play one on television, him told you something different than what I said. And because that man is wearing a uniform, you listen. His word is more valuable than mine. His test was right. The test I did is wrong. The science I used is different than the science he used. He did the scientific test, you know, pressure equals force over area. He did the test. Okay, so did I. Yeah, but he did it. Okay. What? 5 plus 5 doesn't equal 10 with his math? It's different than our math? Because math is only addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And that's it. There is no other kind of math. You could call it geometry. You could call it trigonometry. You can call it calculus. You can call it algebra. You can call it basic math. You can call it whatever you want. It's only adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. The only time the only difference with math is the measurements. That's what changes. Sizes. You still add them up the same way. You still multiply them the same way. You still divide them the same way. But that's math. Add, subtract, multiply, divide. That's math. That's it. That's all math is. The adding, the subtracting, the multiplying, the dividing. That's math. All right? Sine, cosine, and all that. They're measurements. They're ways to measure things. But math, don't tell me I can't do math. Anybody can do math. It's adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. That's all math is. I don't give a shit what name you give it. He does trigonometry. Wow. He's adding. Wow. He's multiplying. No, you know why everybody gets so befuddled when they look up at the board and see that long, drawn-out calculus or trigonometry equation? You know why? Because the middle of it don't exist. It's fake. The beginning and the end is true. The middle is bullshit. It's extra shit that don't need. A plus B, A equals B, and B equals C. So what don't you need? From A, if A is B and B is to C, then A is to C. You don't need the B. But on their equations on that board, they got 11 B's, 19 D's, a few F's, and it makes it all the way to Z. But why do we got all these letters in there if we don't need them? Because you don't need half of that shit on that board. Did you ever watch when they got that on TV even? When they got the teacher up there and he's doing this long ass equation and the little quiet kid walks in and goes over with the eraser and erases a bunch of the stuff in the middle and just puts a line and draws it around and says, oh yeah, well, if this is this, then you don't need this in the middle. It happens on every freaking TV show that ever had kids and a teacher trying to do Traeger calc up on the blackboard. Some smart kid walked in and erased a bunch of his shit, did away with this, one part of it, because it wasn't needed. It was extra. They show us in the media all the time exactly what they're doing. That's exactly what they did. They put it up there. It's just a dog and pony show. All that relativity shit's just a dog and pony show. It's all bullshit. Even Einstein said that relativity's bullshit because the ether exists. He said, in order for relativity to be real, the ether cannot exist. The ether, the energy field around us, can't exist if relativity is correct. Michelson-Morley proved it. And Michelson and Gale proved it. Einstein proved it, that it don't exist, that relativity is not true. He even said God don't play dice with the universe. Well, guess what? Relativity is God constantly rolling dice. And if Einstein's most famous quote is, God don't play dice with the universe, that, and I'm not sure where the third world war will be fought with, but I know the fourth one will be fought with sticks and stones. He said that. I said that to somebody the other day and they didn't understand. I said, you get that? And he said, no. What do you mean? Oh, I wasn't listening. I said, you don't know what the third world war is going to be fought like. But he knows the fourth world war is going to be with sticks and stones. You know why that is? Because the war we have now is going to wipe us all off the face of the earth. There's only going to be a couple people. There ain't going to be no technology. There's not going to be any guns. There's going to be sticks and there's going to be stones. And the men are going to have to learn how to use these. These. The real guns. The things that make a man a man. Fighting doesn't make you a man. Standing up for what you believe in. Protecting those you love. Getting up every day and supporting and helping and nurturing and fostering the people you care about. Making the right decisions today. So it makes the decisions for our kids, the decisions they're going to have to make later on, makes it a little easier for them. Because we didn't have it that hard. Because my grandparents, they made some good decisions. The baby boomer generation, not so much. They made some real bad decisions. They dropped the ball. And then Gen X, we didn't drop the ball. We kicked it, lost it, and we've been too pissed off because our toe hurts to go and look and try to find it again. We're walking around in like this dream world. Video games blew our brains out and nobody even seems to get it. You have the Atari, which is the god of deception, or to deceive. That's what Atari means, Then you got the Xbox, right? The Dreamcast. Genesis. Why are they calling them these things? Why are they giving them names? Because it started something. Genesis started it. Atari, deceive. All right, we'll deceive them with this, give it to them. All right? The Genesis comes in. All right? The PlayStation. It's theater. They're guiding theater. The Xbox. The GameCube. Everybody knows about the cube, octagon and the hexagonal, and a cube is an inverted pyramid. It's two pyramids. That's what a cube is. It's two pyramids. Listen. We can do better. We deserve better. We earned better. I don't know if you could see out my backyard. There's a little bit of snow out there, and I got neighbors behind me and stuff. They deserve better. They earned it. All of this is ours. And we're shitting on it. We're treating it like we got another one. Like we got extras. We don't have extras. There is nowhere to go. Even the shill Bill Nye said, one thing I want your generation to embrace is that we live in a closed ecosystem. We cannot leave Earth. There is nowhere to go. He made that statement in 2010. Bill Nye died in 2011. It was on the news. I was in prison. I remember it. I watched Bill Nye the Science Guy and Mr. Wizard when I was a kid. I recorded every single episode. I watched them non-stop. That man died and I was upset. That man showed back up in 2015, but he was on television dead. He died. Bill Nye died in 2011. There's a Mandela effect for you, because Bill Nye the Science Guy died in 2010 or 2011 when I was in prison, right before I got out. It was on the History Channel. It was everywhere. Bill Nye had passed away. They gave his birth date and and when he died, 2010. I want to say 2010. I got out in 2012. 2011. End of 2011. I want to say it happened in 2010. Just like Nelson Mandela. I remember Nelson Mandela dying in South African prison in the 80s. I remember it. I remember all the little comments that were made about it. All the fellas that I talked to that had heads like this and wore Doc Martens and jeans were making a lot of comments about Nelson Mandela dying in prison. And then he turned back up and became the president of South Africa. That doesn't tell you something that, like, maybe the history we've been told is bullshit? Because too many people remember Nelson Mandela dying in 1988. Too many. Died right before my grandfather. I remember when my grandfather died. I remember the day. I remember being on my couch with my cousin Danielle. She was sleeping. It was 5 a.m. It was 4:57 a.m. And the phone rang for about 5 minutes and I wouldn't answer it. So Danielle's father, my Uncle Tommy, who has passed away since, came down the steps and answered the phone. Came out and told me that Pop just went. So I laid there for about 20 minutes, waited for him to leave, and I stayed there. And then I woke my cousin Danielle up and told her. I put my arms around her and I cried harder than I ever cried in my life. It's the truth. It's what it is. He left me a good world. You know? My Pop left me a good world. He did a lot of good things. But Pop was a real dude, man. A real dude. And we've done nothing but shit on it. Not just me. All of us. Like we have an overabundance of earth. You know, I don't like the way the world is. I don't. But I don't want it to go away. I just want it to get better. I want everybody to know that how the inner light they have is so much brighter than the darkest of dark. I don't give a shit what you believe in. I don't care what religion you claim to be a part of. God made you. All he wants is for you to try. To do better. That's it. I'm Tuck. That is the way I see it.